All right, guys, are you ready to talk about Netflix and Warner Brothers? So I've been holding off on this topic for weeks. I've definitely been watching this story develop. Who's going to purchase Warner Brothers? That's been the big story. We thought it might be Paramount. They were a shoe-in. Then word came out that Netflix entered the arena. They wanted to bid on Warner Brothers as well. Then Comcast, Universal, and I think also Amazon Prime. Apple TV at one point was in the mix, but it appears, guys, according to this article over at Variety and multiple news outlets, like this thing is blowing up everywhere on social media right now. Netflix has won the bidding war for Warner Brothers and in an $82.7 billion deal. Now, I do want to say, I want to preface this by saying before we get into this article, this is not finalized yet. They just won the bidding war. There's still more negotiations to take place. This thing's still got to get approved by Congress, all that stuff. So it could fall through. It could not happen. The bidding could open up again. But I will say, this seems pretty likely at this point. Like if this story's coming out and everybody's just running with it and it's huge, like this thing is taking over right now. You're going to see multiple videos like this on YouTube. But I will say I'm going to approach this because that's what I do here on this channel, guys. If you're new to the channel, if you're just finding me, I'm going to approach this more so from a physical media perspective. I'll touch on theatrical releasing and streaming and all that stuff, but I'm most concerned about physical media. And honestly, like when I'm looking at the broader stories and the bigger outlets, it feels like physical media is something that's not really being touched on as much. Like the people that are trying to put a positive spin on this, because there are those people, and I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm just let you guys know that right now. Um, are not really looking at physical media because I think most of those people, they don't really care about physical media. A lot of people care about theatrical. Of course, I do as well. And streaming, but not there's not a big physical media. We're a pretty niche community here. So I wanna kind of look at this from that perspective. But I'm gonna go through this article. Let me make it a little bit bigger. And if you're new to the channel, guys, and if you want to, because this is important as we go into the future, guys, if you want to get into owning the movies that you love physically and not relying on streaming services to have those, because Netflix, they add stuff, they remove stuff all the time. Subscribe to this channel. I'll take you down I'll take you on a journey through owning your favorite movies on physical media and how you can do that. So definitely hit that subscribe button. And also, comment down below your thoughts. Always, guys, I want to know your thoughts. Everybody's going to have varying opinions on this based on like what you value the most, what's important to you, your perspective. We're all different, guys. This is just one man's opinion. So yeah, leave me your comment down below. And then do not forget to like the video as well. So, all right, this is a pretty long article. So I'm going to get started reading it. So at the top, it says Netflix to buy Warner Brothers and HBO Max an $82.7 billion deal. The acquisition expected to close following Warner Brothers Discovery spinoff of Discovery Global TV Networks division in Q3 of 2026. So yeah, expected to close next year. So we're not really going to see like the ramifications of this probably until 2027. So everything that I bring up today is going to be it's still a ways off. It's a year, 2 years, but I'm honestly like I'm not as concerned about the 2 year, 5 year look into the future. I'm more concerned about like 20 years. Like, what does this mean for 15, 20 years? The future of movies, not even just physical media, the future of movies. What does this mean for that? Because I think this is a very dark day for just movies in general. I think this is like the beginning of the ends. Again, one man's perspective. Let me get into the article. It's official and a move that will dramatically reshape the entertainment business, I think, for the worse. Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery announced an agreement Friday under which Netflix will acquire Warner Brothers, including its film and TV studios, HBO Max and HBO. Like, that's important to note as well. It's not just Warner Brothers. They own HBO and HBO Max and everything that comes with that. So you're talking about the Game of Thrones. It's the new TV series, Welcome to Derry. All the great shows they've done in the past, Succession and and White Lotus, which is currently ongoing, and Sopranos, and just the entire history of HBO television, Netflix will own. Like, what is going to happen to all this stuff? The deal has a total enterprise value, including debts, of approximately 82.7 billion, with an equity value of 72 billion. The company said the announcement of Netflix deal to buy Warner Bros. Streaming and studios business came after a weeks-long bidding war that pitted the streaming giant against David Ellison's Paramount, Skydance, and Comcast. News broke Thursday evening that Netflix had entered into exclusive negotiations with WB on a deal for Warner Brothers and HBO Max. I think it's also important to note that Paramount kind of started this, from what I'm hearing. Like, they're the ones that kind of initiated the interest in Warner Brothers, because they weren't, I had heard that they were looking to sell maybe sometime next year, but Paramount kind of urged them to, open up the negotiations and the bidding early. And it looks like it kind of bit them in the ass a little bit there. So, but again, we'll see. It's possible this could not go through at all. I know some of you are surprised we are making this acquisition. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos said on a call with Analysis Friday, noting the company historically has been more builders than buyers. I mean, that's true. I think this is the first thing that Netflix has truly bought as far as like a big acquisition. Netflix said it expects to maintain Warner Brothers' current operations and build on its strengths, including theatrical releases for films. Currently, Warner Bros. Has deals to release its film in cinemas through 2029. In the near term, Netflix signaled it would keep HBO Max as a discrete service. Okay, so that's good. While it also touted the addition of HBO and HBO Max content to its lineup. So that's interesting. So they're saying Netflix signaled it would keep HBO Max as a discrete service. So I'm assuming that means standalone service. So they'll keep HBO Max. And look, this is just going to be for the near future, I think. Like, eventually, like, they're going to do it with Disney, is doing with Fox and Hulu. Like, they're just going to combine all together at some point. And what's going to happen when Netflix eventually, because this is a big power move, guys. Like, they're just building in their power right here, acquiring Warner Bros. What's going to happen in 10 years when Netflix looks to acquire Disney and Hulu and Fox, and they just end up owning everything at one point? Like, that's a future that I can see as well. Until some other, company comes along and wants to build and maybe potentially starts to buy some other studios off as well. I mean, we've yet to see that. There could be somebody else, rising through the ranks in the next few years. Again, that's interesting. Currently, Warner Bros. Has deals to release its film in cinema through 2029. So they're pretty much saying at least until 2029, we'll keep doing the movies in the theater. But yeah, guys, let me get through this, and then I'll give my final thoughts. But I'm gonna have thoughts as we go, of course. By adding the deep film and TV libraries and HBO Max programming, Netflix members will have even more high quality titles from which to choose, the company said. This also allows Netflix to optimize its plans for consumers, enhancing viewing options and expanding access to content. I mean, I can't wait for that DC Stranger Things crossover, guys. Can you see it now? You can pretty much say goodbye to the James Gunn DC universe. Like, I don't see that lasting beyond maybe next year. Like, maybe there'll be a couple of movies come out in 2027 after that initial slate that he mapped out. I see it kind of coming to an end. The cash and stock transaction is valued at 27.75. Did I miss something here? Netflix said it expects to see $2 to $3 billion in cost savings annually by the third year after WB deal closes. The company expects the transaction to be accretive to earnings per share by year 2. The cash and stock transaction is valued at 27.75 per share of WBD. The deal is expected to close in the next 12 to 18 months, the company said, after the previously announced separation of WBD's TV networks division, Discovery Global, into newly public traded company, which is now expected to be completed in the third quarter of 2026. Under the terms of the agreement, each WBD shareholder will receive 23.25 in cash and $5.50 in shares of Netflix common stock for each share of WBD common stock outstanding at the closing of the transaction. This is a lot of technical business mumbo jumbo, guys. The transaction was unanimously approved by the boards of directors for both Netflix and Warner Bros. The deal is contingent on the completion of the spinoff of Discovery Global as well as regulatory approvals and the approval of the deal by WB shareholders and other customary closing conditions. According to the companies, this acquisition brings together two pioneering entertainment businesses, combining Netflix innovation, global reach, and best-in-class streaming service with Warner Bros. Century-long legacy of world-class storytelling, beloved franchises, shows, and movies such as The Big Bang Theory, The Sopranos, Game of Thrones, The Wizard of Oz, and the DC Universe will join Netflix's extensive portfolio, including Wednesday, Money Heist, Bridgerton, Adolescence, and Extraction, creating an extraordinary entertainment offering for audiences worldwide. I mean, there's no denying that. I mean, the amount of entertainment you can get on one streaming service with this deal is going to be insane and uncompetable. I feel like, is that a word? Like even Disney with Fox, like Disney has no idea, like what they, over the past 6, 7 years, like they've had no idea what to do with Fox, like no idea. Like they could have done so many great things right now. We'll see if Netflix knows what they're doing with Warner Bros. Catalog. But like Disney has just done shit with the Fox catalog and combining that with Disney, other than like Deadpool and Wolverine, which is pretty much it, and some mediocre aliens stuff. And Predator Badlands I haven't seen, but like Prey was okay. That was an okay movie. But they've had zero. They've sucked. They've sucked. So Disney and Fox cannot compete with the offerings on Netflix and Warner Brothers, I think. I mean, they got Harry Potter, they got Lord of the Rings, they got all the fantasy stuff, guys. Netflix faces potential hurdle. Let's see. The deal announcement did not say what role, if any, David Zaslav, president and CEO of Warner Bros. Discovery, will have as a result upon the completion of the deal. Zaslav was sent to become CEO of standalone Warner Bros. Entity. I've heard he's supposed to keep his job, but I could be wrong. Netflix faces potential hurdle in clearing the WB deal over antitrust issues, a point that Ellison's Paramount Skydance emphasized in its communications with the WB board in its last bid. Rep. Daryl Isa R. Califf raised concern. Sorry, guys, raised that concern in a November 13 letter to Trump administration officials, writing, with more than 300 million global subscribers and a vast content library, Netflix currently wields unequaled market power. I mean, that's kind of true. Under the agreement, Netflix will pay WBD a breakup fee of $5.8 billion if the deals fails to close under certain circumstances related to failure to obtain approvals, or if U.S. or international regulatory bodies block the transaction. The streamer disclosed in an SEC filing, "We've signed a deal, and we are running full speed toward regulatory approval," Sarando said on the analysis call. Hollywood industry groups, including Directors Guild of America and theater chain trade group Cinema United, have also come out expressing fears that Netflix takeover of Warner Bros. Will harm the movie theater business. I mean, yeah. Netflix, in its announcement, asserted that the deal will result in stronger entertainment industry. Per the company, this acquisition will enhance Netflix studio capabilities, allowing the company to significantly expand U.S. production capacity and continue to grow investment in original content over the long term, which will create jobs and strengthen entertainment industry. Okay. The streamer will also claim that a combined Netflix WB will provide more opportunities for the creative community, saying in a statement, by uniting, I mean, how does it create more opportunities? You are combining you're combining stuff together. You're consolidating things. How does that create more opportunities? That's just one opportunity to work for Netflix and WB. Like that's just not true. By uniting Netflix member experiences and global reach with Warner Bros. Renowned franchises and extensive library, the company will create greater value for talent, offering more opportunities to work with the beloved intellectual property, tell new stories, and connect with a wider audience than ever before. I mean, I know Netflix is really, independent, filmmaker friendly. There's a lot of people that create stuff for Netflix, and they create a lot of opportunities, but again, that's just one place. We're consolidating everything to one place. Yes, the opportunities may be more in this one place, but it's still just one place. There's no opportunities for people to, move around if something happens. You pretty much have one shot, and if you burn that bridge, it's over. Our mission has always been to entertain the world, Sarando said in a statement, by combining Warner Bros. Incredible library of shows and movies, from timeless classics like Casablanca and Citizen Kane. I can't wait for those Netflix original series of the Casablanca show and Citizen Kane, a 10-part miniseries. I'm sure they'll do that. To modern favorites like Harry Potter and Friends, with our culture defining titles like Stranger Things, K-pop, Demon Hunters, and Squid Game. We'll be able to do that even better. Together, we can give audiences more of what they love and help define the next century of storytelling. Greg Peters, co-CEO of Netflix, added Warner Bros. Has helped define entertainment for more than a century and continues to do so with phenomenal creative executives and production capabilities. With our global reach and proven business model, we can introduce a broader audience to the worlds they create, giving our members more options, attracting more fans to our best-in-class streaming service, strengthening the entertainment industry, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Combines two of the Zaslav says this combines two of the greatest storytelling companies in the world. Warner Bros. Has thrilled audiences. Capture. I'm going to try to get through this as quick. This is freaking insane how big this article is. In June 2025, I mean, there's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo about them combining together and how great it is. In June 2025, WBD announced plans to separate its streaming and studios business under Warner Brothers banner and its TV network groups on Discovery Global and two separate publicly traded companies. This separation is now expected to be completed in the third quarter of 2026 prior to the closing of Netflix transaction. This newly separated Discovery Global, headed by current WBD co-founder, CFO Gunnar Wendenfils, will include compromised properties, including blah, 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 blah. In an ironic twist in Netflix deal to buy Warner Brothers, the announcement comes almost exactly 15 years after then Time Warner chief Jeff Booskies, I can't pronounce that, derided Netflix in an interview with the New York Times akin to the Albanian army, casting doubt on Netflix's growing clout in the industry at the time. Busk said, "It's a little bit like it's the Albanian army going to take over the world." Okay, I think that's it. Now, there was probably way more there than I needed to read. But as you can tell, guys, no emphasis, okay? No expanding on like what that means for physical media. Now there has been a story come out since, I didn't pull this article, that has said that Netflix is already saying that they are planning to shorten theatrical the theatrical to streaming gap. So the stuff's going to come in the theaters. I mean, the gap to that now, I think, is like maybe a month or two, right? Like you can buy this stuff digitally on VOD like a month after the movie comes out in most cases, and then you can rent it a couple months later. Then the physical comes out usually about 2.5 months after theatrical release. So if they shorten that even more, like if they do what they do, with their movies that they put in the theaters, like that's like what, 2 weeks? Like I could see that. I could see it honestly being like 2 weeks to a month or something. That's what the theatrical window is going to look like for Netflix. Okay, we'll put in the theaters for 2 weeks, and then it'll be on Netflix. And at that point, it's like you might as well just close all the theaters down. Like who in their right mind, like unless it's just a movie you feel like you have to see, but like that's for movie fans, that's for cinema lovers. Like we're always going to want to go support the movies in the theaters and buy physical media and all that kind of stuff. The average movie going audience, which makes up the bulk of the theater going audience, 95% of the people that go to the movies go maybe like once or twice a year, probably. They're going to look at that and be like, okay, it's going to be on streaming in 2 weeks. I'm not going to go to the theater. But getting into physical media and what I think this means for physical media, again, this physical media didn't come up at all in the articles at all. It's almost like an afterthought, like nobody's even thinking about it. And Warner Brothers is one of the studios that really supports physical media and putting their stuff out physically, Blu-ray options, 4K options, 4K Steelbook options, DVD. Like they're one of the studios that's really supporting physical media at this point. And I honestly, like, what is Netflix's motivation for putting out Warner Brothers movies on physical media if the idea is it goes to theater, then it goes to our streaming service? Where does physical media fit in there? Like they're so anti-physical media at this point. Like they've come out and said that. Tits Randos has come out and said that before. Like he's not for physical media. He doesn't want to put their stuff out physically anymore. They did for a little bit, but then they kind of held back on that. We still haven't seen the third season of Stranger Things physically, the fourth, and I doubt we're going to see the fifth. So I just don't think that physical media fits in that equation at all. So I could definitely see, again, we're give it a little bit time to transition. Maybe 2-3 years, we'll still get Warner Brothers films on 4K and Blu-ray. Like we'll still get that for a while. But come to 2027, 2028, 2029. I could see it being phased out completely. And maybe you could argue that was going to happen all along. Maybe Warner Brothers at some point was going to do that themselves. But I just think it's a lot more likely now with Netflix in charge. Like there's no incentive, there's no motivation for them to do physical releases. If the idea is we go to theater, then we go exclusively on the streaming service. We'll give the theater people their experience, for a while until the theaters die because we're going to be the ones to kill it. But physical media has no place in that. So of course, come 2027, 2028, you're not going to see Blu-ray and 4Ks and DVDs for these movies that go theatrically. You're not going to be able to own these movies that you saw in the theaters and you loved unless you purchase it on physical. Maybe they'll have it on VOD to get or something, or maybe they'll create their own, little VOD service where you can buy movies off of Netflix and own them in your own account. Like I could see them doing that as well. It just sucks, guys. And then you get to stuff like Arrow Video, and they have this deal with Warner Brothers, and they've licensed out tons of movies and titles that Arrow Video to put out. They just put out the Turtles, they put out the Mask, and tons. Outland just came out. Like they've really been exploring the Warner Brothers back catalog because of that partnership with Warner Brothers, and I could see that coming to an end as well. I mean, I don't know like how long that deal was for, but and I'm sure that they'll be able to put out stuff the next couple of years through the deals, but like after that, that deal is dead as well. And then all the other like, you know, partnerships that Warner Brothers has. I mean, they just did Eyes Wide Shut. That was with Warner Brothers as well, Criterion, which I have right here. That kind of stuff going to come to an end as well? Like because of this deal with Netflix, or is Warner Brothers not going to be allowed to license their back catalog to boutique labels? And are they not going to be allowed to put their back catalog and upgrade those to 4K and put those out on physical media? What happens to Warner Archive, and all their Blu-ray releases of older classic films that Netflix probably won't even bother to put on their streaming service? What happens to all that? There's a lot of questions here. I don't have all the answers. I only have, speculation, but I don't see Netflix as the savior of physical media. They're not going to have some big, like, a turnaround like moment where they're like, oh, I see the value in physical media. Let's start putting everything out on physical. I don't see that happening. They don't feel that way about their stuff. Why are they going to feel that way about the Warner Brothers stuff? So I just think it sucks. It just sucks all around. I don't like it. Honestly, I wouldn't have liked any of the options because I'm not for consolidation of the business, but that's just the way it is. It's business and it's money, and money talks, and money's always going to be the ultimate determining factor with anything. But I just hate this, guys, and what it means for the future. And I mean, you talk about, the Warner Brothers 4K and Blu-ray releases, but also like HBO still has their stuff being put out on DVD and Blu-ray. Like series like Succession just got a complete Blu-ray box set, and Friends got a 4K set. So you got all kinds of these shows owned by Warner Brothers, and all that stuff's not going to be out either. Like because Netflix doesn't do their shows on physical media, why would they do the HBO shows or the Warner Brothers shows and put those out on physical media? And then you go into Amazon, because Amazon owns MGM, and Warner Brothers does a lot of the physical work for their stuff, distributing their stuff on physical media. You got Challengers that they put out, and some of their original shows they'll put out on physical media. That's probably going to come to an end too. And then what about their deals with Apple? Like they did F1 together. That kind of stuff's not going to be around anymore. And also Warner Brothers does a lot of physical releases of Apple TV shows as well. Like that, it seems like all that stuff's going to go away too. So I just think that this is if this goes through, again, it hasn't gone through yet, this is going to be a massive blow to physical media. Like there's no way that it can't be. There's just no way that it can't be. I don't see any other, like, somebody please give me an optimistic viewpoint down below. Like what do you think could happen that is positive for physical media in this, if this deal goes through? I just don't see it. I just really don't. But anyway, guys, this video has been too long already. I just wanted to get on here and share my thoughts, read the article, and just talk about it with you guys. But let me know what you all think in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications for all future videos, and we will see you guys later.